Hey, we're gonna go from
side by side. We have this upright and then this place on the other side.
morning.
Morning.
3 minutes. Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, we're, we're gonna do our consent agenda part, and then right after.
How are you? Doing all right.
You up. You're welcome.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, did you get all of this? Somebody on.
2 of each.
Not bad.
Better than circus.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Got ready?
Yes, sir.
Stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Porter County Board of Commissioners April 22nd, 2025 meeting. We will start with the consent agenda.
Approval of payroll, April 11th, 2025. Approval of claims, April 3rd, April 10th, April 17th, 2025. Approval of minutes, April 1st, 2025. Weights and measures monthly report, February 16th through March 15th, 2025.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion for approval as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Deb McLeod, we're gonna make an adjustment here with the agenda. We're bringing somebody up to speak with us that needed to speak with us. We needed to speak with them. So why don't you explain what your request and then we can just go from there.
Okay, we are back requesting another permit, this one for May Courthouse Square again. It's in conjunction with
5051 movement.
is the organization.
What is the organization?
50, 51,
50501.
Yeah.
50 states,
50 protests
50 protests.
one day.
And there are national rallies going on. It's in celebration of Law Day
Mhm.
is where it comes from. And so we are requesting once again a permit.
Okay, and you had called me,
Yes.
and because there was an issue of you wanting a certain date, but we weren't meeting until
After that date.
after that date.
We're having trouble with when we find out when the organization is planning a nationwide protest, we don't always have the 3-week lead time that we need to get the
They're
process.
announcing them like 2 weeks in advance. So as soon as we find out, we're trying to put the permit stuff in, but sometimes the meetings just aren't aligning.
They aren't aligning. So we're trying to figure out how we can work together because we do want to work with you guys.
Okay, real quick, I can't have you talk at the same time, and you need to introduce yourself, please.
Oh. I'm Lisa Kaffenberger. I am the leader of NWI Activists. I'm co-organizing with Deb.
Otherwise, when Kathy does the minutes, she starts getting dizzy.
I got you.
So we have the Commissioner Rignus or Commissioner Murray. Do you have any questions in regard to? You need further explanation of what the issue is.
Is there an issue?
Yeah, their issue is that they find it difficult to schedule around our schedule.
Right.
Right.
And we can't really force the national to do that better. I mean, we're one tiny town in a nation of towns. So we're trying to figure out how to work with you. We do have some headway, but we don't. Sometimes I have to call and go, can you squeeze us in? And thus far, you all have been phenomenal about doing this. But I don't want to keep bothering Kathy back there or having to irritate you because we don't have a permit. So, and we also have, and I'd appreciate it. This is something else we talked about. If we can clarify the need for a permit, I would really appreciate that because a lot of people do not understand why we want a permit.
I'm gonna let the county attorney explain what the purpose of the permit is.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, under our First Amendment jurisprudence or case law, it's clear local governments can regulate when, where, and how, or time, place, manner, reasonably. The constitutional review is strict, content neutral, but as far as time, place, and manner, when there's larger issues like safety or traffic, that's when the government is allowed to say time, place, and manner. So, do you need a permit? Yes. Does the government have the authority to issue the permit and require the permit? Yes. Under time, place, and manner. It's content neutral, and it is about one of the issues that would rise to strict review, which is health and safety, things of that nature. So, on the issue of do you need a permit, is it legal to request a permit? Is it legal for this body of government to issue the permit? The answer is yes, under those very constrained ways of looking at things, because we are dealing with free speech. So yes, that's why we're here to only deal with time, place, and manner.
So if something happened breaking news wise, and we could not, like tonight, something awful happens, and we want to assemble tomorrow, are we allowed to do that under the Constitution for breaking news?
I don't think there's a breaking news exception.
Oh, see, I thought there was. I'm not claiming it. I'm asking about that because according to the ACLU, there is a breaking news exception.
And that's the one thing that people keep bringing up to us as to why we're getting permits is there's breaking news and we shouldn't need that.
But is breaking news happening every 2 weeks?
Right.
I mean, we start eating.
It's pretty much happening every day.
Yeah, for sure.
Right now, but I want this absolutely clarified because, as I said earlier, we are getting grief from both sides of the aisle about the way we're doing things, and we are really trying to be good stewards of the community and the government. We don't want anything to go wrong at our rally. We want a clear separation of the people on our side of the fence and the people on the other side of the fence. We don't want to commingle with them. I like having the police there. It's very comforting to know they're there. But I wanted to have that clarified so that I can turn around and say, please go talk to the county attorney. And I don't know your name, so I'm sorry.
Scott McClure.
Okay, please go talk to Scott McClure. Do you guys have any questions?
You do understand what we're going to permit. There's going to be no exceptions and no consideration not to permit. And we do that for your safety as well as the general public's.
Correct.
That way, as I explained to you on the phone yesterday, is that if you're out there with the permit and somebody shows up there anti whatever you're doing without a permit, they're going to be escorted off the property. That's why it is imperative that you have a permit, that we control that property. Control it in the sense that it's, I mean, think about this, right? It's sitting in downtown Valparaiso. Have a bunch of innocent citizens that are shopping or down there eating, walking across that property, walking down sidewalks of that border of that property. They shouldn't have to worry about their safety.
Absolutely.
That's why these permits are necessary. Now, I do understand that you have this issue of, well, you meet here, commissioners, and we need an answer here. I get that. Now, I'm going to be real honest with you. Most boards would tell you, I'm sorry. We publish our schedules at the beginning of the year. Anybody can work around it. And if you're asking us to work around, well, it's breaking news. We need to be out there. I'm sorry. I don't know how we're going to get around that.
Okay.
But I'm willing to consider, we have to hear from the other two, I'm willing to consider either one or two things. Either when you apply for the permit, you get more than 1 day, but you have to know the date you're going to be out there, the dates you're going to be out there.
Okay.
Two, if the other two commissioners are comfortable with allowing a commissioner that you can call when you need to be out there. But that commissioner, and that is not an easy thing for us to do, because that commissioner you're calling has to be very aware of what might be already scheduled out there.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be a little bit of work on their end.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to leave it up to my board
Okay.
as to what direction they want to take it, if any. So
Well, one thing I did want to get some input from Sheriff Balin, because this also is an economic cost to the county to have staff there that wasn't budgeted, wasn't foreseen, and I'm just wondering if you could.
Hi, Deb.
Hi, how are you, Jeff?
Son.
Fine.
All right. What's your question, Barb?
No, I'm just wondering from a staffing perspective and what it means for you and to have these frequent rallies at the courthouse where you have to provide staff the city has to provide.
Well, it's cost. I mean, it costs money. I mean, these aren't officers that we can have on duty to stand around and protect everybody. So there is a cost to that. Valpo PD oftentimes supplies many officers. We'll supply multiple officers. Of course, that's a concern for my operating budget. The amount of gatherings, protests, rallies, however we want to label them, how costs our budget. And because we always have to anticipate things like that when it comes to overtime, but when it's becoming multiple and lots of them, that's an issue. Then I have to go to the council and ask for appropriations for additional overtime funds, as does Valpo officers as well, go to the city council. So it's always good to have communications with the people that are organizing these events, so we can kind of say, okay, how many you plan on to have? How big are the numbers? That's one of the reasons why it's so important with the permits. So we have an open communication with the people, because oftentimes when we have, a protest, then we'll have a counter protest many times. So it's also important that we have communications with both sides of that. So we can say, okay, how many people are coming? What are you planning on doing? How long are you there? And then also, it would be nice to have an idea of how many of these events we're going to have throughout the year, right? Because That's something that is going to be a cost to the taxpayers. It's an impact on my operating budget. So the biggest thing that we need to do is have communication, right?
Absolutely.
And I get the issue of pop-up protests, okay? But we could almost have a pop-up protest every single day. So that's where I would almost suggest that we groups think through this, pick the most important topics, okay? Maybe have multiple topics that you're protesting or advocating for, whatever the case may be, and then try to plan those events accordingly with the public safety, because obviously we're there for everyone's protection. That's what the biggest thing is. We don't want things to escalate. It's also important that we know how many people are going to attend, because that also is going to determine how many officers, how we separate the two parties to make sure something doesn't escalate. We also have to be concerned about, what the impact for, like Commissioner Biggs said, the people that are out walking down the sidewalks, or the cars that are watching this go on. We did have 2 separate accidents involving 5 vehicles on Lincoln Way a couple weeks ago. That was not your group. Your group stayed where you were asked to, okay? But things kind of, and we can't control everything. What we try to do is say, okay, here's the line. This isn't what we can allow, okay? You guys did work very hard at controlling and keeping your people where they were designated. So I applaud you for that. So thank you.
Thank you.
But since you don't know who's coming, we don't know how this is going to turn out. And that was kind of a mess a couple weeks ago for a short period, until we were able to regroup and say, okay, everybody, because there's so much traffic, and we also have to take the time of day, the day of the week, take that all into consideration. So I probably went into a little bit more, but I think it's important that we have that conversation. So it does impact it in the short of it. Any other questions?
No, I think you answered
Okay.
it all.
And probably then more. All right.
I would like to say we truly appreciate everything Sheriff Batten has been doing for us, because he's been phenomenal in getting us out there. I think that we've worked hard to communicate on both sides so that we know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes for everybody. And, our job as public safety is to make sure we're there for everyone's protection. And
Absolutely.
it's important that I work with our law enforcement professionals and partners to make sure that happens. So.
Anything?
Nope.
Good.
All right.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff Allen.
Barb, you have anything else?
Well-
I'm sure you will after.
Did
Yeah.
you want to just ask her the question? And then I was going to comment.
Well, a couple of things. What kind of response are you getting from the city of Valparaiso?
John has been very supportive. Pat's had a couple questions. Actually, they've been really supportive.
So is the case with the city? You're calling the mayor, and the mayor is deciding whether or not you're out there or you're not out there.
Well, he's on the board,
He's on. Yeah, right. He's on the board.
the zoning or the board of works.
So you're going in front of the board.
We go in
Yeah.
that board also.
We'll
Yes.
be in front of them on Friday, actually.
So about those occasions where your schedule when you want to be out there doesn't meet their schedule when they want to meet, what have you?
Had Attorney Lip has slid us in right before public comment so that we didn't have to not.
So
have a
you're still getting in front of the board.
Yes,
Yes.
but we're getting slid in usually.
Is that because the Board of Works is meeting twice a month?
Yes, and we don't always have that
So
day.
with that with them meeting every 2 weeks, is meshing up almost with the 2 weeks basic notice.
Absolutely.
There's
And
been
you
mesh-
guys, but you guys are on Mondays and they're on Fridays, and we usually
Oh,
find
we're on
out,
Tuesdays.
or Tuesdays, and we usually find out the week before, and it's not quite enough to get your 7-day
So something else
lead time.
we want to make crystal clear to your organization. You were out there Friday without a permit,
Yes, we were.
and you approached the sheriff and asked the sheriff if you could be on the property.
Kind of, yes. What I said was,
Yes, sir.
I don't know how many people we're gonna have.
Mhm.
We don't have a county permit. It's possible we're going to spill onto the grass. How does that work? And he did not seem to think that would be a huge concern.
Well, who set up the table right in front of the front doors?
That would have been my fault again, and I'll take full responsibility for that. When we had gone before the city, we had talked about putting up.
Just let me
Yes, go ahead.
let me make something crystal clear to you. The sheriff of this county cannot give approval for you to be out there.
'Kay.
This board.
Okay.
We're going to exercise our authority. Okay. It starts and stops with this board.
All right.
And I don't want to put our sheriff in that uncomfortable position of making that decision.
Nor do I.
And I'm sure he doesn't want to be in that position.
I'm sure he does not.
So please don't put him in that position.
I will not.
This is to happen again.
Okay.
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 So here's what I want to do here. I'm willing to consider of designating one of us to take your call, and that person can decide whether or not it's a go. And there could be reasons why it's not a good idea. We could already have somebody scheduled out there. You're asking. There's going to be 500 people out there. It could just be a lot of it. But I want to know what, because I'm not going to outvote my board members here. So I want to hear from my fellow commissioners as to if they want to just stay with this current protocol process,
Mhm.
or if we're willing to consider something else.
I understand it opens up a can of worms for you. We're trying to do the best we know how to do.
So, what organization is giving you information that you're following? What organization is that?
50501 is the national organization.
They're the ones that are announcing the dates of when the national ones are.
Okay, and what's the frequency that they anticipate that these are going to?
It seems like they've been announcing them every 2 weeks, but most of the time, the day of one of the rallies, that nationwide one will end, and then that night they'll announce the next day.
Because you have to understand, we have more constituents than just you. We have business that's taking place in the courthouse. I mean, we have 6 different courtrooms in there with trials going on, judges, people attending that. And, we can't disrupt that business. And then we have to take into consideration our merchants and so forth on Lincoln Way and in the downtown area too, and how that affects them. So this is, it's not easy for us because we don't just have you as constituents. We have other people that have rights. They have rights to be walking down the street without being accosted or
Absolutely.
I
I
can speak it.
lead the Tuesdays on the Square protest for now.
Mhm.
Every Tuesday we have a permit on the northeast corner. There's usually 15 people or so there. And I learned there. Every week, every Tuesday on.
Lord, what do you find of?
It were the counter protests. To the anti-choice people. And we just stand there, and then afterwards we go to lunch. It's fine. But I'm very careful. I have now started carrying sidewalk chalk to make sure that people leave a pathway for people who are in wheelchairs. I have a disabled granddaughter, so I'm fairly concerned about ADA compliance and making sure that people have room. I do understand what you're saying. We encourage our protesters frequently to support the businesses that are downtown after our rallies because we know unfortunately, there's a big crowd. Well, or fortunately, depending on which side, there's a big crowd of us out there, and I know that it disrupts the city. That's kind of the point. I mean, disruption is kind of the point. We're not trying to ruin it for everybody, but we're trying to raise awareness of some things that aren't going so well right now. The most noise that we actually had on the Friday protest when we knew the courthouse was closed, which was part of why we knew no one was going to be coming in and out of that door. I wasn't completely willy nilly. I was only just a little. um, but we want to keep it safe. We want to support our town.
Well, if one of the other commissioners wants to take responsibility, I would be open to that.
I'm not comfortable with it. I mean, what are you talking about time frame here? I mean, you're gonna get a hold of one of the commissioners 24 hours before one of these protests should happen.
Well, this is
48
for May
hours,
1st,
2 hours. I mean, but you're here now. I mean, the May 1st.
but we wouldn't have been on the agenda had Commissioner Biggs not allowed us to come and speak.
Mhm. But
Because
there would be given time. I mean, a good amount of time. I mean, because if you do this for one group,
well, that's what,
have every group calling a commissioner,
Right.
and then we already heard Sheriff Ballin speak about now we have to pull officers from other places, whether they're overtime or whatnot. I think it becomes more of a time frame issue. I mean, what are we talking about? I don't see a 24-hour thing working or a 48-hour thing working. I mean, if we want to slide you in or somehow a week or so before our commissioners meeting or something like that, I mean, I don't have a problem with that as long as we're all on board with that. But
Is it one of those things where if as soon as we find out the date, we can just let whoever decides to, if somebody
I mean, provided there's a reasonable time frame. I mean, I'm looking at this from a public safety issue. If something happens and let's say it's 3 days before a commission meeting or a day before. I mean, now all these different factions of police officers being moved and perhaps the overtime issue. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here.
absolutely.
I mean,
We're trying to give you as much head time.
Yeah.
No, I understand that. I'm perfect.
I feel like we should be able to give at least a week's notice.
I have not seen one we wouldn't have been able to give
Yeah.
notice on.
It would be more of just getting in the permit by the time that we need to get into the meeting. We would probably have a week's at least notice. It just wouldn't be in enough time to get it in for the next meeting, because a lot of the times the events happen and then the meeting is like 3 days later, and that was the problem that we were running into. It wasn't that we didn't have enough notice. It was just the meeting would always end up being a couple days after when the event would take place.
So can I just ask you, ladies,
Mhm.
it sounds like there's many opportunities for you to have these rallies or protests, many opportunities. And is it not unreasonable to ask that if it can fit into a schedule where it can be on the commissioner's agenda in the right time frame, then the approvals go through? But if we're having to jump through hoops to make exceptions, the exceptions then make rules not even valid. Because once we start making exceptions, then we have to make exceptions for everybody. Otherwise, they'll cry discrimination. You're saying you're doing it for one group, but you won't do it for another. And then that means our staff is burdened. That means a commissioner is, or another commissioner is burdened. So is it a problem then if you can make the commissioner's agenda and we approve it, which we will at a commissioner's meeting, and you're on the agenda, but if for some reason it just doesn't work out, it sounds like there's going to be many opportunities for you to have rallies.
Is it possible that we can get the 7-day rule waived? Because that seems to be a part of our issue. Because you have a rule that says we have to apply 7 days before the meeting to get on the agenda.
Well, everybody in all the departments, everybody understands, because we got to get the agenda
The
posted.
elected officials have to apply for that 7 days.
Okay.
But commissioners, on this one issue, we're dealing with not our departments and not our internal. This is the week before the meeting. I'm not sure is appropriate timing for this type of a request. Our internal request, I agree with, but before our actual meeting, the week before, I think we're going to potentially have some issues with that.
Yeah, I mean, slippery slope.
Well, I'll tell you what, here, because we're going on 30 minutes on this.
I'm sorry.
Not that it's not, the subject matter is not worth it. We have a full agenda here. It's just, here's what I'd like to do. We're going to stay on the path we're on right now.
Okay.
In the meantime, we'll set up a meeting with you, myself and the county attorney, and see if we can pound something out here that makes sense for everybody. you know, sitting here listening to the commissioner's comments, and I thought they were very good comments, you know, concerns, is, you know, if I take that phone call to it, now I got to call our sheriff and say, hey, can you spare me a couple of guys out here on this date? You know, hey, you know, Melanie, do we have anybody scheduled for this date and time?
Right.
It just gets really complex.
A lot.
Yeah, and I want to be fair to you, but it's very difficult being fair to you and being fair to everybody else. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I can be fair to you, but unfair to everybody else.
That'll work for me.
You know, we can't do that.
I know.
Let's you're asking to be out there
May 1st.
May 1st.
And what time?
12 to 2.
I'll entertain a motion from the commissioners for that date and time.
I move that we approve the request to use the,
Hang on a second. I'm sorry. What part of the property? What part of the property are you asking to stand on?
They've been putting us on the south side.
Okay.
That's what the city's been doing. We would,
Okay. We'll stay on that.
yeah.
So it's on the south side of the building. Okay.
Now I have a question for you, which you might be able to answer. Which side would be better on a day when court is in session? The south side? Well, I believe the courthouse is open May 1st, isn't it?
I still think the south side's better. I'm just so worried about it because Lincoln Way is so heavily trafficked.
Okay.
And we've already got 2 accidents out there. It's to stay on the south side, but be accommodating to the people that are coming and going out of there.
We won't set up any
You are-
tables in front of that door.
Yeah.
Where I get the attention to the judges, I can tell you what will happen. And it won't be good for either one of us.
I agree.
So let's try to stay on the south side. What times?
12 to 2.
12 to 2? Is that part of your motion?
move that we approve the request to use the south side of the courthouse on May 1st from 12 to 2, with the understanding that you are cognizant of the fact that we have business going on in that building.
Absolutely.
So we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion as well as a second for approval. And what's the date again? I'm sorry.
May 1st.
May 1st, between 12 and 2.
Yep.
Okay, on the south side of the building.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved. And Deb, I'll be in contact with you.
Okay, we'll set up a meeting.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners received open bids for CCMG. Larry, Highway Superintendent. Number 2503001 roadway project. Bids will be awarded at the end of the meeting.
Good morning.
Morning.
The auditors received 2 bids.
Okay.
Milestone Contractor LP, base bid $3,513,814.15. Base bid $3,513,814.15. Alternative 1, $361,581.83. Alternative 1, $361,581.83.
Scott, I'm not sure if we need, there should be 3 alternates altogether. I don't know if you need to read all 3 of them aloud or not.
For both or just the
For both, yes, for each bid, it should have 3 alternates, 1, 2, and 3.
Go ahead and look for it.
My mistake. All three. That's the sum of all three alternate, though. It's okay.
Reith Riley Construction Company, Inc. Base bid $3,503,061.90. Base bid $3,503,061.90. Alternative one bid $346,198.95. $346,190.95.
We should have received bids for another project as well, our Brummett Road construction pipe replacement project. Just so you're aware, but we're going to review these bids and confirm that the CCMG projects are complete and give you a recommendation at the end of the meeting.
Chairman, the next bid sheet is later on in the agenda if we want to wait for it, or we can do it now.
Let's just do it now, get it over. So far, we can just throw this agenda out.
This is the project small structure replacement on Brummett Road. Area Construction, Inc. Base bid of $941,700, $941,700. I do not see any alternative. Small structure replacement on Brummett Road. Reith Riley Construction, Inc. $1,373,158.90. $1,373,158.97.
You'll be able to review this material and get back to us with the recommendation for the end of the.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Here you go, sir. Thank you.
We have an ordinance establishing a non-reverting fund 9128 for the Marine Patrol Assistance Program Fund, second reading.
I move that we approve the ordinance establishing a non-reverting fund 9128 for the Marine Patrol Assistance Program on second reading.
Second.
Second. Real quick, could you explain to us, or the audience, or what it says?
Absolutely. So it's a DNR fund, a grant for to pay officers overtime to work on the lake, on Lake Michigan. So what's happened is with the reduction of services from the Michigan City Station of the United States Coast Guard, they've gone from 25 full-time coasties, 24 hours a day, to down to 8 and 8 hours. So what it's done essentially is it's left with 16 miles of lakeshore on Lake Michigan in Porter County, essentially very reduced in services on protection. So I'm in the process right now of getting private funding donations to purchase a boat used at a much reduced cost. But the thing is I can't unknow that there's a reduction of services on Lake Michigan. And essentially since July 1 of last year, I've been contacted by several Porter County residents who say it's kind of, I guess I'll say a free-for-all up on Lake Michigan with boaters, inside buoys areas, driving recklessly, and there's swimmers out there, and DNR does what they can, but they've got a huge responsibility for areas that they are responsible for, and I'm going to step up our protection and what we can do for our citizens and the boaters that come to Porter County.
Now,
So
currently, we do not or have not had a patrol.
we do not. That several years ago, I don't know when and where, but it was that program disappeared. I don't know what reason. So this is something that we're trying to do conservatively, reasonably, and we've got several private donors that want to help finance this project. So that's what we're doing.
Well, you know, with 16 miles of lakefront, it's kind of really surprising we haven't had anything.
We're lucky. We're lucky. You know, and so I've been so knowing that this was going to happen last year, I wound up paying officers overtime to ride with the Lake County Marine Unit to be certified to learn how to operate, do what they do. And I've also been in contact with the LaPorte County Sheriff, where we're going to work hand in hand to kind of collaborate between Lake and LaPorte counties to address these issues.
Smart.
Yeah. So trying to do it reasonably, and this way we get a DNR grant, $10,000, and I don't think that it would be much more than that out of overtime monies to make sure that our boaters are protected on the busiest days, good water days, not just out there haphazardly. So it's going to be done strategically and organized.
Yeah, I think it's long overdue. That I commend you for creating a new program. We've got a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Thank you.
GIS property casualty insurance renewal. Gentlemen. Morning.
Morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Commissioners and Administration. My name is Charlie Keene with General Insurance Services and my associate, Matt Weber, to my right. We're here today to seek formal approval of the property and casualty insurance program for the County of Porter. We are going on our 8th year serving the county as the county's insurance broker and risk management team. And Matt will kind of go over a few bullet points and answer any questions you may have.
The bulk of the program is with Travelers Insurance. In 2022, they came back on for the bulk of the program and offered not only a very competitive quote, but a rate agreement for 2 additional renewal terms because of the performance of the county's program. So that rate agreement did expire at the end of this year. Travelers back at the table with the most competitive, favorable terms for this renewal. We do have the renewal that represents 18.75% increase from expiring. That's a mix of rate and also exposure, meaning the things the county owns that we need to insure. We were able to negotiate the initial terms down about 5% to get to that 18.75 increase. Travelers remains the county's strongest option for the guaranteed cost property and casualty program structure. We continue to analyze all possible markets, alternative program options, as well as work with yourselves, various department heads, and have a regular cadence to make sure we are on top of all the coverages the county needs and making sure everything is adequately insured.
And one thing we also talked about is that instead of getting surprised, after a long period of time, that we were going to try to meet on a more regular basis, so that if there are some red flags that are starting to come up, that we're forewarned, we can maybe do some prevention and try to keep those rates down.
Yeah,
So what is the difference in the cost next year as compared to what we've been paying?
The total premium for this year, $1,619,855, expiring $1,364,094, just under $300,000.
So just under $300,000 more will be paid.
That is correct.
Correct? Okay. The only reason I ask is so everybody, the public understands it's just getting increasingly difficult with each passing month. The price of insurance has gone up. As at home, as most of the residents at home, their car insurance, their homeowners insurance, and it's it's affected us as well, of course. And I just want to make sure everybody understands that. So I'll entertain a motion to.
I move that we approve the property and casual insurance renewal with Travelers. Is that for 2025 and 2026?
Correct.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. I just want to state this, that with those kind of increases, you're all going to have to step up, because I mean, just put yourself in our place. You know, if it's going to go up that much, I can either take your word for it that you've done your homework and this is the best price, or we can just, you know, roll up our sleeves and see if we can find the best price. So let's think out of the box this year and really do what we need to do to keep costs under control. And that means sharing information with other departments that may be the reason for some of those costs being increased. So
Certainly.
we have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We have a memorandum of understanding between the Porter County Board of Commissioners and County Township Assessor Property Audit Services. Scott, can somebody give clarification on this?
This is the revised memorandum of understanding between the Portage Township Assessor, the Porter County Board of Commissioners. In a nutshell, the Portage Township Assessor will utilize the same consultant or professional firms the Porter County Assessor engages for countywide appraisal or assessment of personal property, including personal property audits, in order to ensure consistency, efficiency, and cost effectiveness. Each office would bear their individual costs as it relates to their underlying duties, but that's the summary of the agreement.
Any questions by the board?
No.
Entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the revised memorandum of understanding between the Porter County Board of Commissioners and the Porter Township Assessor for Property Audit Services.
Second.
A motion as well as a second for approval. I also like to think, as part of this motion, is I like to thank County Councilman Red Stone for encouraging this to be written up. Of a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion. Let's see here. Health Department.
So good morning. You have a couple of change orders that we're going to be asking you to approve today. The first one is for the installation of a mini split system down in the vaccine room. This will be paid from the COVID funds from the health department.
Commissioners, you can do all four of them are change orders, correct?
That's correct.
Yep.
You can name them all and do them all at once if you so choose.
Okay, so the other two items then are change order number 13. This is for the patching for the terrazzo flooring. This will be paid out of the project. And the change order number 14 is the installation of a NEMA plug for IT in both of those closets. And then the change order 15 is for the drywall remediation. We did some demo and reinstallation of some drywall that wasn't anticipated in the original scope. And that's it.
How did number 10 and number 13 come about?
So number 10, the mini split system was not included in the original design of the vaccine room.
Why is it necessary now then?
Well, it's necessary now because the temperature control that was installed was not adequate to keep the room at a reasonable temperature.
It was overlooked by the architects?
That would be a fair statement, yes.
Well, it's either you or the architect.
Well, that would be a fair statement. I'm not trying to point fingers, but we're having discussions with them. Scott McClure and I will be having discussions with them.
Because that's, these two, there's almost $60,000 worth of cost overruns. So, go ahead. I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
Okay, so the other one is to patch in 3 spots in the flooring downstairs. The original design concept had vinyl and carpet flooring in the hallway, so we didn't think that would be appropriate. So we're going to patch in those spots with existing terrazzo, a composite terrazzo, what we have there now.
So that just happens to be a preference. That was not something that was overlooked by the architect. But I do agree that terrazzo should go in those locations.
Especially in the hallway.
Yeah, because it is in the hallway.
And that's 10 grand. I hope it looks real good.
And me too.
Look just like the other terrazzo, right? At least close.
Yeah, the darker one. Yeah.
Well, I move that we approve the change orders number 10, 13, 14, 15 with Berglund Construction for the health department renovation.
I want to do these individually. Barbara, please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I move that we approve the change order number 10 to install the mini split system in the amount of $46,355.37.
We have a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
I move that we approve change order number 13 with Berglund Construction to patch terrazzo in the amount of $10,996.68.
We have a motion for approval. We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval for the PCO 13 pass-through area terrazzo in the amount of $10,996.68. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Aye. Motion approved.
I move that we approve change order number 14, additional phase 2 storage in the amount of $1,077.67.
We have a motion for approval on number PCO 14. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
I move that we approve change order number 15 with Berglund Construction for drywall remediation phase 3 in the amount of $1,244.32.
We have a motion for approval for PCO number 15. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Admin garage.
So we have before you today an invoice for American Structure Point for the engineering and supervising progress on that project.
I move that we approve the invoice with American Construction Point for condition assessment and repair in the amount of $20,500.
Second.
We have a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
So the next 2 items are for pay apps 1 and pay apps 2 on the progress for the garage restoration.
I move that we approve pay app number 1 and pay app number 2 with Western Specialty Contractors for the admin parking garage in the amounts of $63,888.39 and $118,600.47.
Second.
We have a motion for approval as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Thank you, Joe. Next on the agenda is HR Rhonda Young, but you're stepping in.
For today, for this, with respect to the policy we put together, this is for the call out policy for our maintenance guys. So if there's an issue where they're called out after hours or during the holiday, this will spell out that policy. We've already been following that policy, but this kind of codifies it.
Is this just for your department?
That's correct.
Okay. And have you worked through this with our HR director?
Yeah. Ms. Young and I both worked through this, and she agrees and recommends its approval as well.
Scott, have you reviewed this?
I have not.
A don't bring policy in front of us if the county attorney hasn't seen it. But I'll entertain a motion.
Subject to review.
Yes, sir.
I move that-
Please bring it in front of him after.
I move that we approve.
None of us are attorneys except.
I move that we approve the call-out policy for the facilities department, pending legal review.
Second.
Good motion, Bart. We have a motion as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
You'll have that in about 15 seconds. So, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Where am I? Karen Martin, Forbes Mazars. What is this?
Each year, the State Board of Accounts outsources our yearly audit. This is the engagement letter. We don't pay anything to them. This is the third party that does all the auditing of all of our finances.
Okay. You recommending that the board approve it?
Yes.
And Scott, you have had a chance to review this, correct? Okay. I move that we approve the contract for audit services for the year ending December 31st, 2024 with Forbes Mazars.
Second.
We have a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Health Department, Gary Hirschwing. We have an agreement between the Porter County Health Department, the Porter County Expo Center, and Fairgrounds to be used as a mass. What's that word?
Prophylaxis.
I didn't want to mess that up. That could go. I could say a lot of point of dispensing POD site. Quickly, what is this? What is that?
As we could look back to COVID, we would be able to deliver medical countermeasures in the event of whether it's a biological incident, kind of like COVID, but along the lines of that type of event.
Okay.
Which we would,
Being prepared.
Being prepared.
we would need to be delivered.
Okay. Any questions by the board? I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the agreement between the Porter County Health Department and the Porter County Expo Center and Fairgrounds to be used as a mass prophylaxis point of dispensing site.
Second.
I learned a new word today. It's good.
Always.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Recycling Waste Reduction, Carrie Barron. We have a proclamation celebrating International Compost Awareness Week.
Good morning. Happy Earth Day. This is actually the 55th anniversary of our National Earth Day, so I'm honored to be on the Commissioner's agenda presenting this proclamation. Our compost sites are very well known in the community, and every year we celebrate International Compost Awareness Week by having free loading of compost and mulch. And this year our board actually adopted a proclamation stating that we're recognizing the week of May 4th through the 10th, and we're asking the commissioners to join in with our celebration if they would adopt this as well.
Anybody got the proclamation in front of us? Good.
You have it? I'd have to sign in.
You want to read it?
Whereas the Compost Research and Education Foundation, along with Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom, and other countries, have declared the first full week of May to be the annual International Compost Awareness Week. Whereas composting is a way of returning organic resources to the soil and is a way of conserving water during extreme drought or flooding conditions, reducing water consumption and non-point pollution, and a proven method of decreasing the dependence on chemical fertilizers and decreasing erosion. Whereas composting is an effective form of waste reduction, reuse, and recycling, and since organic materials make up approximately 30% of the material going to landfills, composting is becoming one of the primary methods communities use to reach waste diversion goals. Whereas materials such as leaves and yard trimmings have been composted and converted into a beneficial product known as compost at 3 compost site locations in Porter County, whereas Porter County communities can have a significant impact on clean water, soil, climate change, and landfill diversion by using compost for public works projects, and whereas International Compost Awareness Week is a publicity and education initiative to showcase compost production and demonstrate compost use, Whereas this year's theme is Sustainable Communities Begin with Compost, the 2025 theme was chosen with the goal of highlighting composting in all kinds of communities at any scale, from backyard home composter to community composters to large-scale facilities, to all those who recognize the many benefits of using compost on our soils. Composting is an essential element in developing a sustainable resources management plan for any community. Composting empowers communities to manage their own waste, create job opportunities, and support healthy soils with locally made compost. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Porter County Commissioners join the Recycling and Waste Reduction District of Porter County to hereby proclaim May 4th through the 10th, 2025 as International Compost Week in recognition of the efforts of the Compost Research and Education Foundation, extension agents, soil conservation stewards, householders, landscapers, farmers, recyclers, public workers, composters, gardeners, and plant growers everywhere.
Thank you. Entertain a motion.
I move that we join in the proclamation celebrating International Compost Awareness Week.
Second.
We have a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Wait, you forgot one really important thing that's happening this afternoon.
Very excited, 1 p.m. Today, our travel screen is officially being delivered. So for those of you who have received compost and have had debris and plastic and garbage, we received a grant from IDEM, and our piece of equipment will arrive today, and we will begin screening material to have much cleaner compost. So great effort, many years in the making. So a great celebration today. Happy Earth Day. Choose and reuse.
We'll see you later. We'll see you this afternoon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
E911. Director Debbie Gunn, we have a request to approve a job description for a new CAD administrator position. This position would receive a stipend of $250 per day period.
For pay period.
Oh, per day. Yeah. Pay period. Not day period. Entertain a motion.
I'm just wondering, were you able to run this past HR?
I did not, Barb.
Run the passes.
HR.
The job description, I did not. This is for a little background, if it helps at this point. This would not be any additional funding. I have current stipends that were created for our communications training officers. I have 8 of those allotted right now for those positions. I am, if approved today, what I'd like to do is reduce that to 6 and move that stipend amount, which is the same, to this position. The reason, forgive me, it was complete oversight on my part that I did not pass this by HR. The reason this is necessary is we have found that transitioning to a new CAD system, as detailed and granular as it is, and also the addition of EFD, which is Emergency Fire Dispatching Protocols, it has essentially increased exponentially our run cards and search orders for our responders in the field. And for example, one department, Hebron Department, has over 7,000 run cards. That amount of work is just far too much for our current IT person. So we've actually been having a dispatch supervisor who has IT background build out some of these run cards in addition to his everyday responsibilities. And we also, there's another individual, our GIS specialist, who's currently working on a MicroCAD. He's kind of titled as a MicroCAD. You are aware of some of the issues that we faced with our CAD, and we're trying to find alternatives. So in addition to our run cards and our search orders, which have increased incredibly, we also have the concern that we're trying to find an alternative to CAD outages. We'd like to have something housed on our WAN here within the county, and we're not so reliant on our provider, as well as we don't want to resort to pen and paper. So these 2 positions are completely outside of the job responsibilities currently from that GIS coordinator as well as the supervisor. And I think it's only right that they be compensated. I tried to be creative with the budget and remove the stipend so that there wasn't any additional funding needed.
Yeah. I'm just going to make the motion pending that you run it past Rhonda real quick, okay?
So is that, do I need to come before you again?
No, just after, just make sure that everything is good with her.
Got it. Okay.
So I move that we approve the job description for a new CAD administrator position in E911 with a stipend of $250 per pay period, pending review of our human resources director.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved. We prepare an AI quality assurance and call transcription software contract in the amount of $75,000 to be paid for out of E911's current budget.
This is something that I'm thrilled to share. Barb, you had a little bit of a window into this opportunity we have. This, I believe that this software is ground level revolutionary to the industry. What this software specifically does, as you know, I've been searching for AI QA software. This provides that 100% of calls in real time. And we can build out the parameters for notification so we can have the frontline supervisors immediately notified when dispatchers, call takers aren't compliant. We can obviously build out that notification to our specifications. In addition to that, this is what I'm thrilled about. This product provides real-time translation, which is beneficial in so many ways. I couldn't even begin to go down that rabbit hole of where this technology potentially will lead. One of the most current issues we're facing is our CAD. Dispatch has been relegated to pen and paper, which I'm not satisfied with. This will give us, for posterity and accuracy, real-time call translation outside of our CAD system, which means that which is shareable with our field responders as well as CAD if and when we do come back up in outages. But this is outside of that. This is every minute, offers language translation as well in real time. So it's just a phenomenal tool. I can see this. What I'm excited about is we would be the first county within Indiana to deploy this. And this is such appealing software that it's really a technological race right now. Motorola is trying to get on board with this functionality. Rapid SOS, another one of our vendors, is trying to get on board with this, with a component of this. But I've researched all, and I'm confident this startup company is the most robust, has the most comprehensive package for our county, and will benefit our citizens and dispatchers. I ultimately also think that this can potentially alleviate some of the multitasking requirements put on dispatchers daily. And so as this evolves, I'm excited with your approval to get on board and see what kind of platform they're building, because there are definitely multiple components to this software that based on this, I'm interested in exploring in the future.
I think this is a really exciting opportunity and mission. Is the name of the company Prepared?
Prepared 911.
Okay. I move that we approve the request for the AI quality assurance and call transcription software with the company Prepared 911 in the amount of $75,000.
Second.
We have a motion for approval as well as a second. I have a question. There's no kind of annual maintenance agreement with this thing.
No.
All right.
Yes.
All right, it's just yes or no.
No, there's not.
We have a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Deb. Facilities Department. Where do you go? I got a Real Deal Painting, a contract for wallpaper removal, skim coat, and touch up, and paint all walls and trim facing out at JDC. That's a juvenile detention center in the amount of $6,900.
So this is part of phase 1 interior work. We'll be having a phase 2 portion. This is for the so this is for the probationary office. So then we'll be working on the judges area on what they call the north end, which is really the east end. That was already previously done. So we're not going to be working at this. Is just to get that kind of wrapped up.
Is this the same person that's been doing
The downstairs, yeah.
I move that we approve the contract with Real Deal Painting for wallpaper removal, skim coat and touch up, and paint all walls and trim facing at the JDC and the amount of $6,900.
Second.
We have a motion for approval as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
So the next item is with K2 Construction. This is for the victim assistance change order. The original amount was already approved and funded through the council. This is not funded through the county council. This will be paid directly out of our budget. However, it was told that if we do need additional funds by the end of the year, then we can request those funds accordingly. So we'll pay for this out of the facilities budget. This was stuff that was not originally scoped out after the prosecutors got in there. They kind of wanted outlets and stuff like that put in. So this is going to be additional work that they're going to have on there.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is for that room.
Yes, the victim assistance room.
That's the same room that wants $37,000 worth of furniture.
That I don't know about because, yeah.
That's what I hear.
Okay. Hadn't heard that, sir.
All right.
It won't be out of my budget. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I move that we approve the change order for Victims Assistance Suite with K2 Construction in the amount of $3,147.16.
Second.
We have a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Highway Department. We have an MOU for interlocal paving of 3 roadway segments within the Porter County CCMG District number 2503001 roadway project, which have jurisdiction with local municipalities. These MOUs allow a mechanism for reimbursement from the project area within the following municipalities: Valparaiso, Division 1B, Bartz Road, County Road 275 East between Evans Avenue and Bell Park Road, Valparaiso, Division 3B, Hayes Leonard Road, County Road 150 West between US 30 and Joliet, and Chesterton, Division 4B, Babcock Road, County Road 200 West between County Road 1050 North and North Limit. What's that North Limit mean?
City limits of Chester.
Limits, okay.
Who developed the MOUs?
So I wrote the MOUs using a format that we had previously for other MOUs for paving projects in the past.
And did you? Okay. And you don't have any issues? Okay. Can we do the Valpo together?
You can do them all together.
We can do them all together. I move that we approve the MOUs for interlocal paving of 3 roadway segments within Porter County as listed on our agenda.
Second.
We have a motion for approval as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Okay. The recommendation for the CCMG bids, Reith Riley was the lowest responsible bidder with a base bid of $503,000 and $61 a night. Can I start over? That's a lot of numbers.
I thought I was having a stroke.
$3,503,061.90.
Okay.
That's the
And do you want to do the alternate also?
We'll come back later with the alternate
Okay.
within the next 60 days once the other municipalities approve the MOU.
Okay. We need a motion, Scott.
Yes, we need to award the CCMG bid.
I move that we approve the CCMG bid with Reith Riley Construction Company in the amount of $3,503,061.90.
Second.
She read that pretty
You're a lot better with numbers.
We have a motion as well as a second for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are we going to do the? This one?
I don't know.
Are you ready for this one? Okay. Okay.
Okay, Development Stormwater, Mr. Jabo, Director. We have Well, you just start with one and go down.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
First item on the agenda for our department is approval to advertise for on-call material testing services. We're going to be issuing proposals to be received by the county. This would be for our bridge and road projects as needed throughout the year for testing.
I move that we approve the request to advertise for on-call material testing services.
Second.
We have a motion for approval as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Next item is Lockmuller Group Amendment Number 2 to the LPA agreement to provide services for Bridge 98 replacements, which is County Road 600 North over Salt Creek, and the amount of, there's an error. It's the original contract is $350,745. The change, or the amendment that's before you is a net zero change. We're just shuffling items around. We did not need to buy as much right away. We'd like to put that in the construction services.
Entertain a motion.
I move that we approve amendment number 2 to the LPA agreement with Lockmuller Group to provide services for Bridge 98 replacement, County Road 600 North over Salt Creek with a net zero increase. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion for approval as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Next item is Ellis Construction Company, Inc., change order number 1 in the amount of $5,320 for County Road 300 West Bridge, number 80 over Cornell Ditch in Boone Township. This is an INDOT fund project, so we'd be eligible for 80% reimbursement. Recommend approval.
And what was the change order?
Unforeseen conditions with concrete buried in there that was not expected.
Okay. I move that we approve change order number 1 in the amount of $5,320 with Ellis Construction Company for County Road 300 West Bridge 80 over Cornell Ditch in Boone Township.
Second.
We have a motion for approval as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Thank you, Commissioners.
That concludes our regular.
Are we going to do? You ready to-
Our project manager is still reviewing bids. If we could have about a couple minutes, he's about done.
You doing it?
This.
Start this. Just give us a couple minutes, folks. Yeah, we're going to take a 5-minute break. And please, only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They use the cheap. I mean, this stuff has already been there for 100 years. So it's a material issue. So it's not maintenance. Yeah, you'll be spending that every 4 or 5 years. This stuff that they're matching it to, in there since the scratch. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a real you know what. If you know, it's kind of,
You want to go lunch with this walk? Yeah. We'll go to a place. What, up the sidewalk?
but you know what I mean? It's, you know, like I said, the long run, you're gonna save. You know what I mean?
Go with Hey, you and Jabo want to You know what room I'm talking about? Prosecutor's office. Yeah. They contacted the council. I don't have $37,000. See it, Jay. We're gonna be busy.
Your mic's off. It's all fixed.
Yeah, I looked at that. You would be replacing that.
I just have it on me.
I didn't like it to help from. I get it. But in this, you know, this stuff that yeah. You know, it would have done for that. Well, I mean, you wouldn't be but
set aside a budget for these hired jobs. And when I did those, we never exceeded the goal. We had as much as we they all go with contingency. So you can pull it from that and really show an increase in the overall project.
Scott, when we get done here, we're going to walk up this sidewalk right the
You got 2 minutes.
Have you looked at it? Okay, let me know.
So that they work. And then somebody else may hurry up.
Hurry up.
Look at your hands. Is that paint?
Oh yeah. Paint the stairway. I didn't have to do much painting, thankfully. Lenny took care of most of it.
I hate painting.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'd rather do one.
Same here.
What? Talk to you after the week. Yes.
That's the homemade scaffold I made to paint the stairway with. It was good.
Yeah, I didn't have to on that. Those regular runners that they put between lenses.
Yeah. Those are nice.
They fold up nice too.
Can I order a pizza?
Yeah. I'm hungry. You guys have a record?
Oh, okay. Okay, now. Okay, okay. Yeah, all right, okay.
Somebody grab that door back there. Come on, Larry. You got to make yourself. He's our security. Oh, we didn't have security here today. Mr. Jabo.
County Highway Engineer has a statement for you.
For the Brummett Road Small Structure Replacement Project, Gary Up Construction was the lowest responsible bidder. We recommend accepting the base bid in the amount of $900. Oh, sorry, Chris, are we doing the alternate as well? We'll do 9. Okay. We recommend approval of the base bid at $941, $700.00.
Was that the lowest bid?
Yes.
I move that we approve the contract with Gary Up Construction Company for the small structure replacement on Brummett Road in the amount of $941,700.
Second.
We have a motion for approval as well as a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Now that will include our regularly scheduled agenda portion of our any other matter which may properly come before the Board of Commissioners. I do have a statement, a public statement I'd like to read in regard to this neighborhood meeting, because I know many of you that are out there right now that have lasted this long. And I feel just like that little boy that's crying. This is in regard to the neighborhood meeting. The neighborhood meeting is scheduled for May 13th, starting at 5:30 p.m. at the Porter County Expo Center at 215 East Division Road in Valpo. This meeting will be hosted by the Porter County Plan Commission. It will not be hosted by the Porter County Board of Commissioners. The purpose of this meeting will be to provide an opportunity for the petitioner, the data center people, and to introduce their project, as well as for residents to make comment. So they hear your comment. We want them to hear from you. We want you to hear from them. The Plan Commission will not be making motions or votes on this project at this meeting. There will be no vote, no official action taken of any type. A Plan Commission meeting with the public hearing will be scheduled at a date to be determined after the neighborhood meeting. The public hearing will provide a forum for the public to comment and ask questions about the project at that time. That's in the Plan Commission meeting, which they will be setting a date here very soon. The petitioner will be required to address comments and questions from both the public and the Plan Commission members. But what we wanted to make clear today is that this neighborhood meeting, we want to hear from you. Well, it's not a question and answer session. We want to hear from you. We want them to hear you. And because I'm as curious as you are, and I think I can speak for the other two commissioners, I'm curious as how they respond to it. So, but it's not, you don't get to ask them a question, they don't get to ask you a question. So, just to make clear on that. So, with that said,
So can you just explain what the format will actually be, or do we need Mr. Jabo?
According to our Unified Development Ordinance, whenever you entertain a PUD, which is a form of zoning change, there's a list of steps you must go through. One of the steps is an optional step called the neighborhood meeting. But we feel very strongly a project of this size, we need a neighborhood meeting. Purpose of the neighborhood meeting is, as the commission read, petitioner gets to introduce their project, public gets to make comment, both sides get to reflect on what each said, so that we can, when we move on to the public hearing stage, that's where the robust back and forth goes. We've made accommodations at the Expo Center, which will hold quite a few people. We're also going to record it. Try to live stream if we can. Technology is a little short out there. So the format of the meeting will be almost like this. They'll have the dais with the Plan Commission and staff. We'll have a table where the petitioner will present. I'm guessing they will have audio visual or visual aids. We got plenty of screens so everybody can see. And then we'll just open it up so the public can be addressed. We'll have sign-in sheets. We're going to record the meeting. All the comments are going to be recorded.
Do they also get to ask questions? I mean, just ask a question. I know you said the answers won't be provided in the meeting, but if they have questions,
They can pose questions, yes, but they won't be answered at this meeting because we want people to reflect. And look, the thing is so huge. There's going to be lots and lots and lots of questions.
we get into a situation where we're answering questions,
Well,
nothing will get accomplished.
true, but in fairness, it makes everybody, the public included, much more informed when we have the public hearing. That is the meeting that's where we really kick off and go. So again, the neighborhood meeting is simply an introduction, and all sides get to make their comments be heard.
And I should like to mention, this is not something county government usually does. Last time we did something like this was over the solar issue in Morgan Township, and a lot of information came out of that. And we know by taking your emails, phone calls, text messages. I mean, this is a very explosive. It's a very emotional subject matter. especially in the Morgan Township area. I mean, excuse me, in the Union Township area. And we want to give you the opportunity to hear what we hear. And we want to hear from you, all of you. Because you may bring something up we're missing. You may not. And I again, we want to make sure that the developers hear what your concerns are. Because as one of 3 individuals that will ultimately decide on this, I can tell you emphatically, if they don't address your concerns responsibly, I'm not going to support it. I can't support it. And I think anybody up here would be silly to support it if they're not addressing your concerns. If they, on the other hand, if they address your concerns and they're rational, and that we can all understand where it's what everybody else is saying, then that's a different matter. But we have to hear from you, and piecemealing it through individual emails or whatever is just after a while it just all starts together, folks. It's just we need to set aside an evening like we're going to do, and we need to hear from you. So, yeah, is there anybody who'd like to address the Board of Commissioners for you? Yes, ma'am. You state your name and your address, please.
I don't need a mic, but I'll take it. Amy Ketchum, 15 North, 500 West in Union Township. Kind of going off of just what the process you were talking about, I think what keeps us up at night is not knowing what that process is. So I know there was some legislation that was passed last year talking about processes like these, having to make a decision within 10 days of this neighborhood meeting or whatever that looks like, public comment, public hearing. Can you kind of walk us through a little bit of that okay, the neighborhood meeting is May 13th. What happens after that and what timeline are we looking at?
Mike.
Sorry.
Go ahead and come back up here and what you just said here. Chief, what's your first name?
Amy.
Amy was asking what's the process that will take place after this neighborhood meeting?
In summary, the process is a combination of Indiana code and what we have on our Unified Development Ordinance, mostly in the code, which is 3674-600 series. After the neighborhood meeting, then, like any normal project that comes before us for public hearing, you'll have a Plan Commission meeting with the hearing, take comments. Petitioner must address the comments. There can be debate between the members on the dais on the Plan Commission. They could decide then to make a recommendation to the commissioners, or they could continue the meeting. Once they have made a decision of favorable or unfavorable, then it goes to the commissioners to do. By our structure, there's 2 meetings. You have your first reading, which also includes a public hearing, and comment is taken again. And then no motion is made at that meeting. Your second meeting, you can debate and ask questions from the commissioners, but it's not a public hearing.
So Scott, if the commissioners were to, in this first meeting, when it's brought before us, we were to, at that point, vote it down, would there be a need for a second meeting?
No.
That's what I didn't think. That's what
I thought.
Well, at the commissioner level, once we're at the commissioner, if they deny it, it's denied.
At the first meeting or the second?
At the first.
Okay.
I think what you're attempting to ask is we go from the neighborhood meeting to when.
Right.
And the answer is we don't know yet. There is work being done. The application, and I want to be very clear because this is where the language becomes important. We have an application that has been filed. This department, his department, Mr. Jabo's department, needs to determine when that application is completed, meaning it's following the rules and regulations that we have. Once that occurs, that sets the timeline for the public hearing and the notice. And then that's what sets out when that meeting would get set and when those notices would go out to the surrounding property. So we can't say it's June or it's May or it's July yet until all of the work is completed and it's a deemed a completed application. Then statutorily, we're on a timeline of when it has to go before the Plan Commission. That's the stage that we're at now. And until all of that is complete, it won't move to the Plan Commission. And ultimately, what's happening at Plan Commission is the underlying rezone request and the concept plan of the PUD that's being developed. That is what's being developed. When that is deemed completed, then the process through the public meetings will start at the Plan Commission.
I guess to add to what Scott said, they got to dot all their I's and cross their T's. We're applying the UDO instructions for PUD development. And, they're not there yet. We've commented on their draft. We've sent it back to them. They're going to send it back to us another. And, we're hearing some of the comments being said out loud. So we're trying to address those, at least point their attention to it. But there's some things in there, such as building height. You can only go so high, even with a PUD. In a PUD, a planned unit development ordinance, you're basically creating your zoning district, because we don't have a zoning district that applies in this case. So this is a very important stage to require all this. This is where you get to put things in there, such as requirements for set aside for public space, offsets, heights, etc. Those all get worked through the PUD, and the PUD is subject to change as it goes through the Plan Commission and when it goes through the commissioners as well.
So, Mike, let me just ask you, Commissioner, come to the neighborhood meeting. What version are they going to be presenting? Their initial application or revisions based on feedback that they've already gotten?
I would expect they would come with the feedback that we've worked out to that date, not to say we won't be done by then.
Yeah, that meeting, that neighborhood meeting would not be the place to break out on us some idea they had not shared with your office.
Correct.
Well, and part of the point of the public is to let the public tell the applicant their concerns so they can be imputed into the plan that they're submitting with the rest of the county. So that's part of the process to get those concerns.
That is the method to the madness, is to, before they get in front of them with the actual plan, with the public hearing, they first hear from you. They get some time to adjust their plan, or not. Maybe they just say it and submit as they see fit. But that's the reason we're setting it up this way. We'll hear from you first, and then we hear from them after they've heard from you.
Yeah, and I understand that. I also I don't know if anybody has seen their phones, but while we've been sitting here, I can never say this county name right, but Kosukuoko, something like that. They actually,
Kosciuszko.
yes, thank you. I can never pronounce it correctly. Warsaw area, I believe, if I'm correct. They actually denied this, and they considered it heavy industrial, which I don't believe falls under a PUD. So I just want that to be on the record as well. While we've been sitting here, that county denied it. In respect to something you had mentioned, Commissioner Biggs, about just being able to educate ourselves and hearing both sides of it, which I understand. I understand there's a process to follow. But I would like to hear from you all, like, what are you doing to help educate yourself in the matter of are you waiting until that, neighborhood meeting? Are you waiting until other things? Are you going to see the chaos that's going on in New Carlisle right now with those data center proposals? I would just kind of love to hear what you're doing to kind of, help make an educated decision when the time is coming.
Well, speaking for myself, I mean, I read, different, white papers or articles that are sent to me. I've watched some videos. We're planning on a tour of a data center operation, similar sizes being projected here. But more than anything, I want to hear from them, and I want to hear from the public. You know, I've got some emails that are sent to me that go, I wasn't thinking of that. And I've had other emails that I just shake my head over. It's like, jeez, you know, the sky is falling.
I get some of those every day.
Yeah. Because, you know, as I or the board has said in the past, this is a generational decision. This is a big, big deal for us. It is far and away the largest economic development project that this county has seen since Bethlehem Steel, and probably larger if it were to go through. So we shouldn't, as a community, just say, looks too big, move on, next. We got to be careful here, and I think I have full confidence in Mike and our plan commission that because we have not done this before, because we are not currently zoned for data center operations, we're taking extra slower, careful steps, because if by the time that you're done, we're going to have something on the books, especially if it goes through. So, and I don't know, folks. I'd tell you right now, if I knew, I'd tell you. I don't know. I'm keeping an open mind. I want to hear from them, and I want to hear from all of you. That's going to upset some of you. Sorry. You get paid. You pay me to follow the rules, and I'm going to follow the rules. And that is, petitioners get due process. That go for you or you that wanted to rezone your property. That we're not just setting up here saying who the winners and losers are. Nah, we'll hear you, but we don't want to hear you. You don't want to do that. You don't want us doing that. That's giving us up here. You're giving us way too much power. You don't want to give your elected officials that much authority. You don't. We're human beings just like you. Just you want us to follow the law. That's what we're doing. Just follow the law. But to answer your question, I don't know what I'm going to do. I really don't. I know what our obligations are here, how much we struggle day in and day out. But at the same time, if I'm hearing that this thing's going to throw off a lot of noise, if it's going to, it's not healthy to live around, I ain't going to prove it. Just not. I wouldn't want to live next door to it. But if those things we cannot make it crystal clear that they are fine, that's on the petitioner. That burden is on the petitioner. That isn't on you. They're coming and knocking on our door. So here's what our concerns are. Prove us wrong. But if they can, I'm going to become real unpopular real quick. I got to feel. But I couldn't tell you whether the as you said, Cassius Wakani just, I actually know the commissioners over there. So guess who I'm calling today?
To hear that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I want to hear what they're hearing. So.
Just the last thing I'll say too, I shared last meeting, I've grown up in this community my whole life. I actually got to buy my parents' house after they passed away 2 years ago, doing a lot of home improvement projects at the moment because it was built in 1997, so 'tis the season for all of it to be replaced. But I just want to say, I've had all of your signs in my yard on 500 West. We're a very heavily trafficked area. And now all of the places that I saw your signs during election and campaign sign now have no data center signs in there. So I just want to let you guys know, I know you said, a meeting, we have elected you, and yes, we have, but we are also now saying the same people that have elected you are now saying no data center in our community. So.
Well, I've never been confused to who I'm up here supposed to be working for, ever. But y'all have to understand, there's 178,000 people in this county. There just isn't you and me. So, got to keep that in mind.
Cities have shut it down.
And I know, and they for various reasons. Those situations are nothing like this one. Nothing. This proposal is much larger than what they were looking at. You talk the city of Valpo, that was city-owned property that they wanted to go on. I can guarantee you, if they come knocking at our door and wanted to put it on park property that we have down South County, it would be a big fat no. So it's just different situations.
And I respect that. Respectfully, I respect that. But this also isn't people's homes and literally shares a property with
I
schools.
get it. I get.
Like it is different, but it's also kind of, I guess you could say, way worse.
I get.
So
I get.
yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Richard Garland, 518 West, 450 North. Kind of just a simple question. As you said, the May 13th meeting is from the Planning Commission, but wanted to find out at least are you three or when? Okay, just wanted to make sure that as are you three, at least going to be in attendance, not necessarily at the bench, but in the audience, listening to.
Oh yes.
Okay, because I couldn't. You kept saying, "Well, it's not ours," and I understand. I wanted to. Are you going to be there?
Oh,
Because you say you want to hear us.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's where I always stay on my stuff. Okay.
And I want to choke the guy that sold us stuff. That is temporary. Most worthless. Hi, state your name, please.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Johnson. I live in Union Township, and I was at the last meeting. I just have a question. You mentioned that this is going to be the biggest economical thing for our county. Correct. So economics equals money. But generational, the children that are going to be in the Union Township schools, they have to live with this. So their generation is going to be exposed to all the things. And I did send you both, all of you, video of what's happening in Georgia. If you have not seen that, how families who won't even, they live further away than the school will be. So when you consider generational, are you thinking of the children who are in those schools that are right next to the property? Because that's the generation. We elected you to provide for our families, correct? To do what we need, what we think is best. I'm a retired pediatric nurse. I have seen children die. I have taken the toes of little children. I don't want to find out years from now children attending Union Township are coming down with diseases caused by the noise. Is it electromagnetic coming from the high wires? That causes leukemia. Have you seen a child die of leukemia? It's not a quick death. It's day in, day out, week by month. Have you been next to a parent as they see their child die? And can you come to those people down the road and say, this was an economic, for us, it's for the generation. What about the generation of that child? One life is more important than all the damn money in the world. Amen. Like to say, thank you.
I'm Jennifer Shine. I live at 502 Stony Ridge Court in Union Township. I have two little kids that go to Union Center. Actually, one is going to go next year, kindergarten. Sorry, this is just strictly nurse, but she's going to be there for 13 years in those buildings with all of this going on. I didn't have that in my childhood, and I didn't move here so that she would. I also have a 10-year-old son, so he will get some, but she will get a full dose her entire time in that school district. She is fine. She has no idea what a data center is. My job is to protect her, and so is yours. She'll be like 25 after she's had, 20 of exposure, 13 years of exposure. How could you look at her at age 25 if she can't have children, if she has some horrible disease and it's all traced back to this? I don't think these developers are going to have answers for something like that. And maybe they will. They might be hypothetical, but these centers, especially at these sizes, have not been around long enough to look me in the eyes as a parent and confidently tell me that this isn't going to impact my 5-year-old or my 10-year-old. So I just want you to consider that they may not have all the answers that we need for long-term decision making. They just might have hypotheticals. And I'm also a nurse. I've seen horrible things. People can't trace them back to individual circumstances. circumstances in their life. They're saying they cooked on Teflon too long, or microwave things and start crazy things are out there that really people can't explain. And I don't want my child to be an example, or my children to be, guinea pigs for like what their future health may be. It's very concerning to me. So thank you.
What was your first name again? Jennifer. Jennifer, I just want to remind you something. I touched on it earlier. Is that we want them to hear from you, because we want to hear from them by the time it gets in front of the Plan Commission, what their answers are. If they don't have answers, that ain't a good thing.
I'm speaking today because I'm not sure I can do that in front of that larger group.
Yeah, you did fine. You did great.
I want you to hear specifically today how to say that's how I feel.
Your commissioners are not going to place something in this county that we are not 100% sure that is not going to wreck the health of any of our residents, much less children.
I appreciate that. I don't feel like
So you can sleep tonight. Don't worry about that. Okay?
No matter what the project is.
And you're right, because you don't put a dollar figure on. So
You're fine. Good afternoon. I appreciate those most recent comments. I'm Lee Barnes, and I will be following Mr. Hunter as superintendent at Union Township Schools. Part of this, I wanted to introduce myself. Thank you very much. The other part of this, in respect of time, I want to thank you for having the neighborhood meeting at the Expo Center. I'll be there. I also wanted to echo my support going forward of our community and the statements they brought forward, the outreach that they have done, the organizations they've done, organizing in our community, as well as Mr. Hunter's statements. Going forward, I also want to let you know that we had a special board meeting at Union Township Schools where I will save my words for our neighborhood meeting, but I wanted to let you know that our school board passed a resolution in opposition of. Thank you again for sharing.
anyone else? Go. All right. You got something new?
I do.
Okay.
I think part of the reason there's a lot of mistrust.
We're going to start with your name.
I'm sorry, yes, Melissa Reed, Valparaiso, Indiana, Center Township.
Thank you.
Part of the reason for the mistrust in this room is the Willow Creek Road extension, that it's been going on for a long time.
Well, how does that work into mistrust?
How do you build a massive industrial complex without a proper road from 94 or the toll road?
Again, what does that have to do with the extension of Willow Creek Road that's developed mistrust toward this board?
Because people have been seeing this slowly creep in. There's case studies now in Ohio that have just been made public where it was actually a more than 10-year process of people coming in, buying out land and turning it into what's now the largest data center community. I'm sorry, I don't have the city name. It's a long video. I'll email it to the three of you. If
you have comment that is specifically for this?
Yes, I do. I want everybody to see the colors in this. It's pastel, green, purple, and peach. It's what Mr. Jabo refers to as the UDO, and it categorizes every zoning in the county by the county standard. And the light industrial has a little blurb here that says Plan Commission. Be very sensitive, not consider, says be very sensitive to environmental protection. And if there's no answer from this company that has peer-reviewed studies to say they are being very careful to consider environmental, people, place, water, air, what have it, then I would very much love to hear that you voted no, because I've not been able to get an answer as to why something this industrial, that's been recognized as heavy industrial in many other places, not just Kosciuszko County, is even being considered under light industrial. And it's because it's the only PUD zoning available to industrial. There is no heavy industrial high impact PUD. What they're asking for looks like high impact zoning, HI zoning. There are concerns, and yes, they need to be specific about this at the meeting. How do you run generators without diesel fuel? Diesel fuel storage is not allowed anywhere in light industrial zoning. It's only brought up in heavy. And the other question that you will not find answers to online from any side of this issue: what happens to the water once it's used for cooling? Where does it go? We want that answer. And even if the answer is we pump out 20 million gallons of water every 6 months in trucks, how is that being done so that it doesn't spill? What's in that water? They have tests to say what's in that water after it's used. So we want to hear that specifically. You want to hear that specifically. And I appreciate your comment. Do we have anything new? I wish we had a big old no, but no, we don't. And I appreciate these people that have to go to bed every night thinking, my God, these people have this closer to my house than they do a cemetery. And what is wrong with the value system that they want the setbacks to a cemetery to be greater than to somebody's home? I don't have that answer, and I hope I never will. So anyway, I appreciate your patience, your time, your note-taking, that you're trying to find the best thing to do, and that you also are willing to err on the side of caution if there's no proof that these things don't hurt people, and that we don't know what we don't know, and if not pressed for the answers, they will not be given. So please do some hard, boring research that makes you go numb to find out what are the really hard questions to ask that they must give answers for in order to be safe. So thank you very much, and I thank you for the grueling mess that you've all had to endure with comments and emails and everything else, I'm sure.
That's why they pay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anybody else? Oh.
Well, it's now almost good afternoon. My name is Jane Hardesty, and I live at 358 North, 6 West, Valparaiso, in Union Township. Just real quick, I've heard people talk about health. When you go online and do any research, a big part of it has to deal with people's health, as far as the water, the electric, the noise, or whatever. But what I am hearing right now, from you and you and you, our health is already being affected. I know my health is being affected. You don't sleep, you worry, and this is not, we all have experienced difficult things in our lifetime. We all have. And with support and whatever, we get through it. But with this isn't going to go away once it starts. So again, yes, we're looking down the road what could happen, but what is happening right now? Our health. And I would be the first to say that it definitely is affecting my health with sleep, nerves, looking outside. not knowing the possibility. Our cattle, even, I worry about our cattle. You know, are they going to have enough water? Will whatever's going into the air affect them? And I said before, even our crops. Is anything going to fall on our soybeans, our corn? What is happening? But anyway, just real quick, I just want to say it's an issue right now, not with the decision kind of being made, whatever. So, thank you.
Anybody else? Well, thank you very much. Thank you for the patience. It was a long meeting, and I guess we'll see you on the 13th. Have a nice day. Thank you.